Finding a job with the I Want to Work app is easy. Just search the live vacancies on our interactive map to find a job that matches your skills and experience. Sign up and complete your profile. Upload information about your education and career history before posting your very own video CV. Hit apply and let I Want to Work do the rest. It couldn't be simpler.
Hi everyone, Sohaib Hassan back in another The Jobs Talk Show, episode 2. Today I am with my very good panelists here who are the HR experts, Minas Sayed, we have Christopher Cornwall and Valencia Fernandez. Now, the reason why we are organizing this talk show today is to answer your questions related to job searching in the UAE. Some of you are the job seekers, some of you are already employed and you want to switch your jobs, you want to switch the industry, so the panelists here, the experts are here to answer all of your questions. Minas, she's senior tech and digital recruiter and she has been here for more than 6 years. We have Mark from Mark Williams Recruitment, Christopher, who is the managing director of Mark Williams Recruitment, and he has been here more than a decade, I believe. Valencia Fernandez, she has been here for more than 6 years. She has worked with big brands like OSN, and currently she's working with DHL as recruitment specialist. Minas has also worked with big brands, IBM, Accenture, and Oracle. So she is in the recruitment. Valencia as well in the recruitment. So any question related to recruitment, job searching, interviews, LinkedIn, learning, how you can crack interviews, how you can beat the applicant tracking system. So all of your questions will be answered today. And especially those of you who are the job seekers here, like your very first time here in the UAE market. Obviously the UAE market, it operates in a very different way. The recruiters, they evaluate perhaps in a very different way. You see the job applications going live and immediately within minutes there are thousands of applicants. So how you can crack your opportunity and how to do the follow-ups, and all these questions will be answered today. I let my panelists now to introduce themselves so they can go more in detail about their introduction, so you get to know what kind of question you can ask them, and feel free to ask any questions from the experts afterwards.
My name is Minas Sayed. I've been working for the last 17 years and I'm living in UAE since 9 years. I've been in the technical recruiting space specifically for the last 9 years. And the industry is changing a lot. So in the last 9 years, I've seen the industry change a lot. And right now where we are, everything is digitalized. If you apply for a job, that is also a digital way of application, and we review it also digitally. We'll talk about that maybe a little later. But for now, I'm living here since 9 years. I'm in digital recruiting space. I've worked with IBM and Accenture in India, and Accenture and Oracle in UAE. Right now, I'm working with a private company. I don't want to name it because the views that I'll give right now will be my own and not my company's.
And she's an expert when it comes to the ATS, applicant tracking system, and how you can beat the applicant tracking system, the use of keywords. So from the recruiter side, so we have been discussing just a while ago, and she's very much excited to answer your question related to applicant tracking system and how to beat that as well. Definitely. Christopher?
So my name's Chris Cornwall. I'm one of the co-founders and the managing director of a recruitment agency called Mark Williams. So we specialize mainly in UAE national hiring, which maybe not be applicable to anyone in this room. However, I should be sort of fairly well placed to answer any questions that you have regarding your job search, how that's going, any tips, and sort of try and make the questions as hard as possible for these two. And I think, for me, I like to try and get a proper answer on something. So if you feel like I haven't answered a question properly or you want to ask a follow-up question, then please feel free.
All right. Valencia?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Valencia Fernandez. I've been in the recruitment field for over 12 years now. And I've been entirely in the Middle East all my life, so I think I'll be very happy to answer any questions you have regarding your job search, what your CV should look like, where you should apply, or any other question that pops to mind. I've been doing this for a very long time now. I think I've been following a lot of Sohaib's videos and stuff like that, and iwantowork.com as well. And I think I have a pretty fair idea of what could help you land your next job or even divert you into the right direction. So please bring on any questions you may have. I'll be very happy to answer.
Great. Sometimes when the job seekers, they come here, they only focus on just like few job portals. Some of your friends, they might have told you, okay, just apply only on these job portals, and then you miss out on the other leading job portals as well. So how important it is for the job seekers, when they come here, that they should maximize all the job portals which are available in the UAE, or they should just focus on one or two job portals.
Yeah, so when you're looking for a job, just make it like a full-time job and maximize your job search to the fullest. Do everything that is possible. So yes, definitely apply on, create your job profile and apply on jobs through all the job portals available in UAE. If you just Google top 10 job search engines, you'll get a long list. I can give a few names. Is it okay to give names?
Yeah, feel free.
So you could definitely create your profile on Baith, on Indeed. Indeed is a portal which actually get jobs from different job portals and sends it across to you once you have a profile there. And you might think that a lot of companies don't post jobs actually on these portals now, which is true, but it will still help you in landing your desired job. And it doesn't end there. Just creating your job profile on these portals and applying for a job on these portals, you'll not get a job. You'll not even hear back, right? Most of the times that's what happens. So first apply for the job over there and then go to LinkedIn, go to the company's careers page, apply on the company's careers page as well. And on LinkedIn, try to search for two kinds of people. One set, which will be in HR or recruiting of that particular company, and second set of people, which will be your reporting manager or your supervisor if you join that company. So you contact these people and send them a summary of your profile, send them why they should hire you. Recruiters are really busy. They're really busy people. So what you need to do is you need to help them. And how can you help them? By telling them why they should hire you. For every role that's advertised, a recruiter sends about 3 to 5 shortlisted candidates to the hiring managers. Now you need to get to that list of 5 shortlists, right? And I can tell you if I'm sending 5 shortlists, one of them will be through referral, 1 or 2 of them will be through referral, 1 or 2 will be through the application tracking system of my website or LinkedIn, and 1 could be a person who's contacted me directly. So referrals play a very important role. That is one of the major sources of hiring for any recruiter.
And then especially, when we see on LinkedIn, you might have seen as well, if you're looking out for job opportunities and you see a system engineer or marketing coordinator and the job has been just published on LinkedIn, like within 1 hour, there are more than 1,500 applicants. Right. So how are we going to chase the recruiter, or how to get the spotlight on our application? So we're going to discuss on that as well, but wonderful insights on the job portal. How the market has picked up in 2021, by the way. And then we'll come back to you. Obviously, you are ready with your questions to be asked, but we're just initiating a conversation. So just for you to know, to gauge, the expertise of the panelists, and then you can ask the questions, the relevant questions, to your favorite experts.
Great. So I think the market has definitely picked up. If most of you out there are looking for jobs, then that's really good news, because I think there are jobs out there right now. However, I think on the recruitment front of it, I think we do face a shortage in the type of candidates that we're looking for in terms of the quality. I think that has definitely reduced drastically. We're probably looking at like a 69% shortage from the previous year of the type of candidates you're looking for, which now makes it even more difficult for you as a job seeker to actually stand out in that crowd, because you've got to set yourself apart from everyone else who's applying. And I think that is the major challenge right now. So if you ask me, are there jobs out there? Yes, there are. But are you going to make it for any of them? Now that's a question that I'm going to pose to you. Like, how well are you working on it? How well are you working in yourself, on your profile itself, and how much are you putting yourself out there to stand out of the crowd?
Yeah, I think, the market is definitely picking up. But yeah, one of the things that I would say, I come from sort of the recruitment agency perspective here, and companies are becoming more and more discerning about who they hire. 2 roles are becoming merged into one. This is a fairly common theme that we're seeing. So it's really important to show how you can add value. And for me as an employer, and from what I see from employers or companies out there, is they want to know quite often one thing: how you can either save them or make them more money. Okay, to be completely crass, that is true. So when you're looking to sell yourself, you need to be able to think and demonstrate how you've done that for companies in the past. And absolutely, yeah, commercial value, commercial awareness, and that will certainly be something that will help you stand out, and something that we can certainly talk more about as we go on.
Exactly. And I think it goes back to the same point which you mentioned, is not to just submit your application, but two set of people, identify from LinkedIn, and reach out to the recruiters. And sometimes, as I mentioned, like within 1 hour there are more than 2,000 applicants. But if you reach out to the recruiter on LinkedIn, just make an effort. If you have their email address perhaps, or their telephone contact details perhaps, so you can reach out, just make an effort to get the spotlight on your application to be noticed.
So on that then, so what about if they don't have the mobile number, or they don't have a contact number, or don't have an email address?
Right. You know what? On LinkedIn, not many people would know if you land on a recruiter's profile, because recruiters who are actively hiring, LinkedIn gave this feature that the hiring managers or the recruiters, they can also have the badge on their profile, which if you go to Mina's profile, so she is actively hiring in tech and digital roles. So you see the hiring badge on their profile picture. Now, if you click the contact details, so some of the recruiters, and most of them, they are now opening doors for the people to come and talk to us. As for example, if they would go to each and every single job application, and the job that has been posted, there are like thousands of applications. Mm-hmm. So I don't think so it's humanly possible unless you take advantage of an ATS system or computer aided machines. So the contact details sometimes, or in most cases, I believe they are given on the LinkedIn profile, and sometimes they do mention in their summary section. And yourself, like you are mentioning,
I don't have my contact details.
No, it's there.
Oh,
it's there. Yeah,
is it? Oh, it is.
It is there. It is there in the experience section.
Okay.
So managing director, like Mark Williams Recruitment, and then there is a brief, and then the Chris Act,
and if that's
and then
not there,
telephone number is there. If not there, then you can simply send an email.
Can I answer this?
I was going to say, because I'm assuming that this is sort of a fairly common problem, right? Everyone applies for a job, and then no one hears back.
They can't get connected with the recruiter.
So the question is how are we going to get to that recruiter?
Yes.
And maybe their contact details are there. Quite often, I would imagine they're not.
So I was in between jobs myself, and I was a job seeker, and I realized we have to be really smart to get the right job as well. What I did for one of the jobs that I was targeting, I didn't get it in the end, but I did get a call from the hiring manager saying that I'm not the right profile. What I did was I really chased like 10 to 15 people from that organization, and whoever had their phone number, even if they were not relevant, I just called them, I had a chat with them, and I spoke to them about that department which I was targeting. And then from 2-3 people, I got a few names, and I think 2 of them gave me the same name. So I knew that this person is my target hiring manager. And then I started chasing him on LinkedIn, and I chased him also through other people that I knew who were working in that company. So now I had a solid lead. I knew that this person's name, let's call he was Tim. I knew that Tim is working for X department. I told the other people that I knew in that company that I want you to send my CV to Tim along with this note. Why do I fit the role? He had a recruiter position, and he was looking at someone from consulting background, which I thought I perfectly fit. So I wrote a summary that I have worked with X company, which is a top management consulting firm, and I fit your role because I've hired in the Middle East region, I've hired in these countries, and I've hired the following profile. So I wrote a very good summary. I sent it to the people that I knew in that company, and they forwarded it to that guy. Then I chased the people that I knew, and I continued to chase him also on LinkedIn until I got a response. and I got a response saying
That's
that
brilliant.
he thinks I don't fit the role.
And you can always take advantage of your mutual connections.
Yes.
Giving you 2 tips, which most of the job seekers, I believe, they don't make an effort to be honest, to connect with the recruiters. So they just rely on submitting the applications volume of applications submitted throughout the week, throughout the months. But if you go on a recruiter profile, you get to see the mutual connection. So if you are really looking forward to speaking to one of the recruiters, so on that recruiter profile, you get to see the mutual connection. So your first degree connection can already help you introduce to that recruiter. And on the other side, on the same recruiter profile, you get to see if you have a mutual group in common. So you don't need to be connected with the recruiter, by the way, so you can simply send them a direct message through that group because you are within the same group. So that's why I have joined some of the biggest groups on LinkedIn. When it comes to the HR, there are like 900,000 people within one group. There are 700,000. There are like one Middle East group, HR group for jobs, and there are like HRs, and it's more than like 300,000 people in that group. So I have potentially access to 300,000 people, and there might be like 20,000 recruiters or hiring managers within that group. So, but when people use LinkedIn, excuse me, initially when I started as well, I was just on the job applications. But then I get to see the real potential of LinkedIn, each and every single thing, the mutual connections, the groups, for example. And now LinkedIn has recently launched their brand new feature for the cover story, which I believe is an amazing tool for you to brand yourself. Record your 20-second cover story. Recruiters, they have been always asking, for their video CV. So it's already there for you now. So you can record yourself. So why not? So record yourself. So a lot of things. All right, let's get started with or you want to add something?
I love this story, by the way, and I think for me the takeaway for me there, tenacity. This is. And I'd like to know what actually happened there. Did you? No, well, I'd like to know. So you didn't get the job? Okay.
That he thinks I don't fit the role, and then I stopped chasing them.
Another way,
because you need to accept rejection as well, right?
Another good way to reach out to the recruiter is, if you don't see recruiters, for example, within your network, or you don't get to see, and your profession is HR, or your profession is marketing, try look for roles in IT, try look for roles in engineering, and when you find those engineering roles, you get to see the recruiter or the job poster, let's say. Okay. All right? So within this company ABC, this is the recruiter. This is the person who is your point of contact for the future jobs, or maybe at least get connected with that person. So it's just how you organize or plan, your job search and your action planning for the upcoming weeks, let's say, to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of finish on that point, I sort of see this from, again, like an agency point of view. So I'm trying to bypass HR as much as possible. Sorry. So my advice there is to try and find out who the direct hiring manager is and make contact with that person, because that is the decision maker. And that is the person that you want to be speaking to, and that's the person you want to be impressing, and that's the person you want to be selling yourself to.
Your CV to me, and I'm the recruiter for that role, I'm definitely going to call you because you are coming from the hiring manager himself. And he will send that CV to me only if he screened your CV and he likes your profile. So I'll definitely call you to have a quick chat, and then we'll put you in the interview process, obviously.
So let's have a quick introduction, a little bit like all of you are looking for jobs, or you are working here. So how many of you are, for example, this is your first time in the UAE? Very first time?
Wow.
All right, so the very first time here. Because people, I was just telling a few of them that UAE market operates in a very different way. Mm-hmm. The recruiters, they evaluate in a very different way. And LinkedIn is very actively used here when it comes to the selection of the candidates. Yes. And how many of you are potentially looking for opportunities? So most of them, I believe. All right. So
make sure they're not on camera.
So we can. All right. So we have the mic. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer questions as well, the easy questions, and. So feel free to ask any questions, and Mr. Rahul will give you the mic, and let's kick this off. No question is wrong. Every question is right. So your question might help other people in the room. So feel free to ask any question and as many as you want.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having this organized in the first place on the weekend so we all could make it. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So I have had a very top-tier ex-private banking experience all my life. I was born and bred in Dubai. And obviously life happens, and I became a mother, and I had some personal grievances which I had to face. Obviously, I had to put myself on the back burner of being into this corporate world. Now, this is where my struggle is, especially because I'm a mother, I've taken a sabbatical, but you know what I want to change in the way people think when they want to hire mothers especially is, you know, break that glass ceiling. She's taken a break, probably for a redirection. I am raging. I'm so ambitious right now. I have so much to offer. And I haven't just sat. I have actually done my project management, my Six Sigma, up to black belt. I'm actually pursuing my master's. And as we speak, and you know, offline I spoke to all of you, how do I literally go through this ATS where they're not looking at what I've done in the gap? You know, I mean, there has to be some way, because literally, and I was telling you this as well, Christopher, you just get ghosted. I mean, how much can you know, I'm like a dog with a bone, you know? It's like, how much can you push through and still not get there? So is it like, because I've been in private banking, and even though I've been in private banking, I've always covered business support areas. And, you know, marketing, okay, yeah, she's there. HR, yeah, she's there. Mentor, onboarding, yes, she's there. So, you know, as much as I've been in business support, and I can cover so many areas, I'm not just getting through.
So you're not basically like getting the calls on your
yeah,
sent applications?
and you know, even knowing people, connecting with them, being a paid member in LinkedIn.
All right.
You're not doing the norm, introducing myself, having a personalized cover letter,
Right.
like what we spoke about, Minaz. So what is really happening, you reckon? How do I beat the AT system? What do I say in the gap?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's begin from here and then move on.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So let me tell you something about application tracking system. Obviously, most companies use that, and we should use them because they are really very helpful. Now, recently I had a role for which we had 1,200 applicants, okay, and I switched off the LinkedIn post because obviously I can't do justice to so many people. Then we went to the application tracking system to just look at all the CVs. Now, the application tracking system is nothing but a tool which has the name of the candidate, the applicant, and it has some columns. So the column next to the candidate's name is, and we can change this, but what I have or what I prefer is to see where that person is working. So the next column will be the employer name or the current company name. If you're not working right now, I would still recommend that you put your last company's name. Because if I see that field blank, then chances are I'll not open your CV.
Right.
Or if you put not applicable there, I might not open your CV to see. Okay, so put your last company's name over there and do yourself this justice. This is not a mandatory field in the ATS. A lot of candidates don't fill it. You think it's just a form, let's just put this, upload the CV and move ahead, next, apply. Don't do that. Fill all these fields. Then after the employer's name usually is the current location. And if that is Dubai and all of you are here right now in UAE, that will also help because I know the candidate is already here and is available. So add your current company name. If there are skills mentioned, then please write the skills. Because before even we open the CV, we can see these things in the snap view. And I can't open 1,200 CVs, right? And this is just one role. On an average, a recruiter is working on 20 roles. So 20 roles into 1,000 or 2,000 applicants sometimes. It's not humanly possible. Now, another important thing is most companies nowadays have artificial intelligence helping them. So there's an AI which is linked to the application tracking system, ATS, which gives a score to every candidate. So you don't know this, but your profile will be ranked on the ATS. And there are profiles which have 0 rating as well, or 0 ranking, 1 ranking, 2 ranking. The highest is 10. So as a recruiter, I will just sort it from the best to the least, right? So in the top, if I have the people that are above 8 ranking or match 80% of the job, then I'm going to talk to those 15, 20 people. I'll probably not even reach the 79% match. And how do you get in that 80% match?
So I think the first thing is to trick the ATS
Yeah.
for their benefit.
Not trick the ATS,
I mean,
just
like
do
in a way
justice
to,
yourself.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Sell yourself. So you keep your LinkedIn profile updated. All the profiles that you have on job portals, keep them updated. Your CV should have all the keywords. So for a job that is advertised, they say you should know how to use SAP, for example, or any particular tool. Make sure that is mentioned in your CV in several places. Then the ATS will pick up that yes, this person has worked on SAP or any other tool.
So there is the count of keywords. So if you are in the IT, so
I don't think it's much to do with tricking the ATS. I think it's just ensuring that you do your due diligence for yourself. Okay, so while she spoke about keywords, right, keywords are really, really important in your CV. Something that she touched on that I definitely want to add is, when you put your phone number in there, and if you are in the UAE, please ensure that you're putting a UAE phone number. What happens is quite often I turn down applicants because I have outside of the UAE and I'm not hiring outside of the UAE. And the number that's there is, let's say, UK number. So I know that you're not in the country. I'm not going to waste my time in calling you. And then you telling me that you will be in the country 2 months from now, but I need the person right now, right? So these are some things you need to cover. These are a few things you need to cover and ensure that the ATS accepts your application and gets you through. Now, when we talk about keywords that she's talking about, I think the first thing you need to do is to have your CV up to date. So I personally like CVs that actually have the key skills right at the top. You either have it on the left-hand column or you have it right on the top of your CV where you put in all the words that match the requirement that you are applying for. Now, there's no point in you applying for a role where you don't match at least 75% of that role because you would not make it through the ATS itself. So leave alone the recruiter getting to see if you all agree with that,
or at least then
right?
trick the ATS.
Yeah, or in that case, trick the ATS and believing you match.
You want them to trick.
Yeah, no, trick in a way like they should know.
To bypass the ATS. Exactly. Now, once you put that in your key skills, I think the best way for the ATS to actually pick you up is to ensure that those keywords you've used are then repeated into your CV in several other locations, within your experience, within your projects, within any other, work experience programs you've done. So just put it in there, and I think that's the best way to get through an ATS.
Exactly.
Yes.
And another tip here is, we spend most of our time in building the profile on the job portals, but the CV that we attach is
incomplete,
is outdated or not work very well. So
I was
just make
coming
sure
to that as well. I think something that you can do for yourself to ensure that you're actually visible is to complete every aspect of your profile on any job board. Because if there's anything missing, you don't know why that information is important to a recruiter and you may not fill it. But maybe that information is important. For example, driving license. Most of us don't really upload it, or most of us don't even tick that. But maybe it's important for the role and you just might not be selected. So ensure you fill every aspect. And when you do that, ensure your CV matches that role. Because if you have a great profile and you click on the CV, like you said, and then it's not up to the standards, then you're out again.
Exactly.
And just one thing, so you must be thinking, how will you know whether you match 80% of the role or 70% of the role? Just Google. I don't want to give names right now, but if you Google, there are websites in which you can put the job description which you're applying for and your CV, and it will scan your CV and tell you how much are you matching. Exactly. Okay? So, and use these websites regularly.
It gives you a fair idea.
Help you.
Fair idea, yes.
Yeah. And then update your CV for each job that you apply. If you have to add something in your CV, and of course tell the truth, but maybe there's something that you've done and you've not written, just write it. Yeah. Right.
And Chris, just a quick question. So, people, they are registering themselves on different recruitment agencies, and your team are also posting the jobs on across social media platforms. So those who are registering their profiles without any application, do you come back to those profiles as well, or only to the job application you would go and you would select against that position? So for example, if right now you're not hiring for any roles, you're not looking for potential applicants, but there are people who are registering to the recruitment agencies, building up their profiles,
right.
But they're not applying for any roles which are available on the site.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you have a role, marketing coordinator, and then candidates, they start applying. So do you go back to your old database as well like sourcing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I guess sort of from the agency side, if you're applying through LinkedIn, that would then feed through onto sort of our database, for want of a better word, our kind of internal portal. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, all that information, the CV that would obviously be uploaded, that would be there for us, which we would then be searching on at a later date. So when you are uploading that, again, very much, be thinking about those keywords. What is it you want to be applying for? And then, yeah, again, making sure that all of those details are filled in, because, yeah, it might well be that we don't have that role right now, but when we run a search internally, whether that be in a week, a month, 6 months, your profile would be with us. I think just to sort of final on your yes, on your question there. I'm going to kind of assume that your CV is pretty good, and maybe I'm a little bit more old school with this than kind of digital software platforms, etc. But my feeling is that you need to be. I as an owner of a business, I want to meet the person. I want to hear the person, and you're obviously very passionate about what you've been doing, and that doesn't always come across on a CV. So trying to get yourself in front of people, that for me, if we put ATS to kind of one side here, you need to be in front of decision makers. You need to be speaking to MDs. You need to be speaking to CEOs and showing them who you are, because a piece of paper just doesn't tell the full story.
I feel you. I know exactly what it is to be a mom and to be kept at the bottom of your selection list because you're a mom. I feel it. I'm going to tell you this upfront. So yes, it is difficult. Yes, the sabbatical, yes, those little breaks that we take are not accepted by quite a few of them, but I'm pretty sure there's a recruiter like me out there who's going to see your CV very soon and feel you as well. All right? Now, like Chris said, I think that's really important now. I don't think you're not getting the call because you don't have a good profile or that you're not qualified enough. I just think that the industry that you're trying to get into has taken a setback in recent times. Okay, so that's one side of it. However, I also believe that you definitely have transferable skills that can be then utilized into other roles. Okay, so I think my suggestion to you would be to look up those roles that match your profile at least by 75%. So take a look at places where you can coach people, or because you mentioned coaching, take a look at roles that require a little HR administration somewhere. So I think in your area, someone who is an office manager or something to do with executive assistants as well would be roles that you could then trickle down your experience into. Now, when it comes to executive assistants, they look for people with analytical background, financial, acumen, and things like that. So I think you would match those roles. Additionally, you would need the combination of managing human resources, because right now, like Chris said, we're trying to combine a lot of roles into one role. And then your role, your profile is going to fly in those kind of areas, right? So I think you need to do that. And then same thing, like he said, I think what you then need to do is start networking. I think apart from what Minhaj said, where you try and email them and get in touch, it's not going to cut it for you, because two things that are working against you at this point is one, it's the industry that has taken a setback, and two, the type of skills that you have that cannot get into a role within the banking sector right now. I don't think you being a mom is a setback. I think that makes you a multitasker.
or perhaps,
okay? I think that sets you apart from the crowd. And being a mom myself, I think that you definitely have whatever it takes to do any role in this entire planet. Have I said that loud enough? Okay, so I think you need to start getting out there and network with people and try and meet them face to face. When they see your passion in person, it's going to change the whole game for you. So get out there, start networking. And I'm not talking about networking with just HR people. I think one of us mentioned getting out there and meeting the hiring manager directly and telling them that, you're ready to meet with them, just grab a coffee with you. And that's pretty much how I think you can get out there. And for anyone of you at that matter, I mean, if you're trying to struggle changing your profile, trying to change your career line, not getting those calls, I think the best thing to do is get out there and start networking with people, and that might change for you.
Exactly. And I made a post just yesterday that, moms, when they come back in their jobs, so they are more empowered and they are more solid. They are more loyal. Exactly, exactly. So just a quick tip from my side. So if you have a gap on your profile, try to fill it up with some if there's a recent gap of like 6 to 8 months or a year or 2 years, whatsoever that is, just to fill up with some freelancing or kind of thing, because ATS, like in my personal experience, so they might be looking for people who are currently employed, who are right now working. So you should appear as somebody who is in the game, who is not, off the record. So you are actually.
I'll give you an example as well.
Yeah, actually, that's a very, very valid point, and this happened with my sister. So she took a 10 years break after becoming a mom, yeah. And how did she get her next job? For almost 9 months to 10 months, she worked with an NGO, freelancing without any salary. But then her last job was showing as that NGO and not as a career break. So that helped her just get back. So freelancing could definitely help.
And also on LinkedIn, and then I'll come to your question, you cannot get LinkedIn All-Star profile if you have no recent experience. So you need to put something, yes. So LinkedIn, like All-Star profile, it helps you appear in the search results as well. So even if you are looking out for jobs right now, try to fill it up there, something, in the recent. Okay.
So I was made redundant back in March 2020. So being made redundant, a lot of people take it really personally. I did too. But do not let that set you back that, oh my God, I'm not going to get a job because I was made redundant. People are ashamed to say it. But it is what it is. It is the market situation. People don't have jobs for you. You will let go. That's it. However, what I did was, post-March, I tried applying. I wasn't getting the calls because we went into lockdown soon after I was made redundant. So there were not many of the organizations out there hiring at that point. What I then did was I took up freelancing and like little odd projects here and there. I wrote job descriptions for companies. I wrote CVs for a lot of people. I help people build their careers and change career lines. I sat down consulting people on where to look for jobs, how to look for jobs, how to build your gold mine of your own. Like I was telling one of you in the audience a while ago, build your own database of recruiters out there. So this is what I did. And then I filled up the profile, the LinkedIn profile, just by adding all the freelance roles that I had done. And I think that kind of keeps you busy and you're not away from the market. What happens quite often, why people don't hire people with gaps, is not because you won't be able to do the job, just that trends in the market change. And you being out of the field only shows the recruiter that you are away from that trend and you have not caught up with it. So I think the best thing to do is to pick up things that keep you within the market, keep you running, while you are looking for your full-time role. So that's pretty much what I did, and I think it worked because my job description experience and the CV writing for executive level and things like that just added to the requirements in my next job. So that could help.
All right. Welcome. Please,
Actually,
your good name and...
Yeah, my name is Leah, and I'm in the portfolio management field, actually. And it's actually, my story is a bit of a continuation of yours, and a lot has been answered. So I've worked in the UAE. I went back to Canada. I worked there, but I had a gap for 3 years also because of motherhood. And now I'm back in the UAE. I'm trying to look for a job. And at some point here, I had a director level position. But now I'm ready to take I don't mind taking a lower grade job, if you say. So, but my question is, when I apply to these lower grade jobs, do I need to remove that director level? Because maybe the recruiter would think I'm overqualified. Like for me, I don't mind. I'm ready. Like I'm ready to go and do the job with the same passion as an entry level person, or even maybe a mid-level person. But I just feel like they're scared. Like, okay, she's overqualified. She's not going to do the job well. So maybe should I like remove this from the CV and like when I apply to lower level jobs, or so that's my question also.
I've got the microphone, so
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting question. So I definitely don't. Well, I know for a fact that you don't want to be lying on your CV.
No.
You can amend job titles,
Okay.
which is definitely an option here. And director job titles can get thrown around quite a bit, maybe in the portfolio management or potentially even in private banking to make yourself sound senior. So when you're approaching senior people,
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's the case. And if that is the case, then you potentially could do it, right? So you just I would need to know a little bit more to kind of advise on that, but I certainly could. So yeah, that's one thing. I would say in general, if you're applying for a more junior role, it's always going to be more difficult because the employer is thinking, once you've been here 6 months, if that director role comes up, you are going to be moving on.
Okay.
So, and in reality, that is probably what would happen most of the time. So, I mean, I would genuinely be trying to apply for roles that are at the right level for you. And then obviously going back to everything that we've kind of talked about already. And certainly for me as maybe a bit more of sort of an old school, showing my age, a few sort of grey hairs type recruiter. It's doing that networking. It's looking at the type of companies which maybe you were in before. For me, there's always a hierarchy of companies, and whichever company you were working in, around that there will be, similar companies, slightly above, slightly below, and then you want to be trying to network through those companies to try and find the right role.
And from my side, I think if you and I, okay. So from my side as well, so there's an option, like you can tweak the roles, but only if you're doing so, just make sure like your profile across all job portals, including LinkedIn, is changed. Just not on the CV.
So yes, you can change your job titles, but I think I would go a step further and apply for roles. For example, if there were a role that said they were looking for a portfolio manager, I would then amend my CV to reflect that. I would reflect it in a manner in the CV that you're applying to that person and change that on LinkedIn as well. So just in case a recruiter goes to your LinkedIn profile, they're looking at that. Considering that you are ready to take that step down, in your opinion, but I don't think that's a step down. Right now in the market, most roles have been graded lower than they used to be. So I think it will just work. Change your title as is. So put it, if you were a director level, maybe put it as a manager level, because I think in the UAE, all would probably agree, titles are it's just a title. You could be doing much more than the director level or much more than a junior level, but you're just called something else. So you can change your title, and I would suggest that you change it right from now and start applying for roles at that level. If something different comes along, then you can always change to the director level that you used to be, because your references would speak for you anyways. So change it right now itself, and I don't think 3 years gap is too long. I think it would work. I think after 3 years, 1 year was COVID?
No, actually, it was
Before that,
Yeah,
okay.
but, yeah.
Okay, it'll work.
It's because also I know I have a different type of experience now that I was out of the country. That's why I know maybe I was away from the contacts and everything. So that's why I don't mind taking
Okay. I would suggest you change it right now and then start applying, because for all you may know, while you're sitting here, someone's actually looking at your profile and think you're a director level while they're looking for a manager. So change it as soon as you can.
And as Chris said, like employers, they are now combining the roles, like 2 in 1. So I have also seen skills becoming the roles of the future now. For example, before we get to see marketing director or marketing coordinator, but now we get to see social media coordinator, we get to see Google AdWords specialist, we get to see influencer marketing specialist. So skills, if you have exactly blockchain specialist, so identify your skills. Maybe you can prepare an Excel sheet, and I also advise this to whosoever I meet. So you can prepare an Excel sheet, list down your skills one by one. For example, you're working as a director or heading one of the department, but then your particular skills, which can turn into roles, because employers, they are posting now skills as roles, skills as potential job titles. So your skills, so you might have like 10 different skill sets. So you can potentially land in 10 different jobs titles, for example, let's say. So like exploring your own stuff, like discovering, so not looking just for marketing director role or head of marketing, marketing specialist, but what involves within the marketing category, within that role itself. And then identify those skills and then look for titles around those skills. And then you get to see a lot of positions. Similarly in HR, if some of you are in HR and some of you are in the IT, for example, computer programmer, as I see Ujala is a computer engineer. So rather than looking for roles, for example, systems engineer, or like you can look for PHP developer, or database administrator, or like those languages even itself, they have become roles. Laravel, I believe, so maybe you guys are more familiar with that from the IT background and qualification, so I believe.
I completely agree to what all of them said. And actually, even when recruiters are searching for candidates on LinkedIn or on these job portals, there is an option for us to search through the job title. So it's possible if I'm hiring for a recruiter, I might not, in the job title, I might not put recruiter, I might put a headhunter or a talent acquisition specialist. And in your profile, if you don't have that term, you have a recruiter, then your profile will not show up.
Diversify.
Yeah, so diversify and try to add multiple job titles in LinkedIn profile as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, think of different words.
Exactly, and within your CV as well.
Yeah.
I have come across a lot of CVs where candidates, they have written their just one job title like recruiter, and then within 3 or 4 lines they have explained the role. So as a recruiter, I was involved in talent acquisition. So even if you don't feel comfortable putting different titles in one line, so you can use different sentences, but use those keywords as Minas mentioned, just to have at least those keywords within your profile as well. And even on LinkedIn, if you go on LinkedIn, click on the jobs tab, and then on the next page you see there's a menu bar. I've made a video and it is available on my YouTube as well, and I have explained it in very detail, like how LinkedIn can help you potentially land at your next job opportunity just by inserting those keywords. So when you click on the resume builder for LinkedIn, so you get to see against each job title, whichever you're looking for, financial advisor, investment portfolio manager, and then you get to see LinkedIn will tell you like around these job titles, you are missing these keywords in your profile. And when you take those, copy paste those keywords, come back to your profile, add them in the summary section, in the experience section, write sentences or phrases around those keywords, come back again to the same, let's say, resume builder, and LinkedIn will give you some new keywords again and again. So it's the video on my YouTube channel, and you can find it it's an hour long video. So you can really take advantage of that LinkedIn feature to optimize your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. So he actually talks about really good stuff on his YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
You should optimize that and view all of his videos. Yeah.
It's just how you can trick, again, how you...
I don't like that word tricking.
No, it is just how you trick. For example, to grow big on LinkedIn, if you want your post to get viewed, you need to understand the algorithm. Right. You need to understand how to first trick the applicant tracking system so that, as you said, profile will get ranked.
Yeah. But
that is the next stage. Exactly. That is the next stage. Yeah. How to trick the recruiter. That maybe we can ask afterwards. How we can trick the recruiter then in an interview.
No. All right. So by tricking, I know a lot of people do this, and I recently had a job post, and I like to mention on the top of my job description what is my minimum requirement, so that even if the candidate doesn't go through the entire job description, he at least looks at the top. And for this particular role, it was in UAE, but I was looking for a Spanish speaker, and I wrote that in the job title and in the first paragraph of the role itself. 90% of my applicants were names from countries that I can tell don't speak Spanish. Yeah. So they were all trying to trick the ATS. But then you will reach a recruiter and you have to fit that role as well. Exactly. So definitely you should apply for roles that you match.
Exactly.
And you have done in the past.
And just a quick suggestion here, and then we come back to you. Nadia, you have a question? All right. So when you are applying for a job, and when you are going through the job description, and immediately you will see what is the essential criteria, 1 or 2 or 3 things which is required by the recruiter, which is required in that role. Yeah. And you can come back to your profile, to your CV, and put it right on the top. For example, languages. You're applying for a computer specialist role, all right, a database programmer, and recruiter is looking for, you should have experience in PHP or JavaScript or HTML, C++, C#. All right, so immediately just put it like on the top in your keyword section, and how that is how you can trick your.
Could I just add on?
But you're telling the truth there.
Tricking in a way like how you can best present yourself, how you can sell yourself, how you can help the recruiter understand that you have to offer what you're looking for.
Correct. Agreed.
So I saw on Instagram the other day someone had posted, "He who has magic doesn't need tricks." But yeah, I guess just to kind of add on to that, like, it is so important that you're looking at, what am I applying for? What does this person want? And do I have those skills? And obviously if you do, then they need to be made very apparent, which is kind of what you're talking about here. And then it is keywords, key phrases, and they need to be on there in abundance. I don't know, you guys know a lot more about this than me, but yeah, they need to be on there a few times. So that's very important. Who am I selling to, and what is it they're looking for?
When you're putting up your CV, another thing that comes to mind is ensure that you're putting up a CV that does not have too many tables, rows, and columns in your CV. So no matter how many times you repeat that word, it's not going to be pulled up by the ATS, because the ATS actually parses the resume based on words that are freely available on your CV. Okay, so if you've put it into a table, it's not going to read it. If you're going to put it into a picture or a graph, it's not going to read that. So I come across, I'm sure you have seen that too, or you too. You see a lot of graphs in the CV. Yes, they're aesthetically beautiful, but it's not going to help you get through the ATS. Okay, so they look good when you see it in a hard copy or even on a PDF. But if you're trying to upload that, the CV is not going to be parsed correctly. So I think you should have a CV in Word doc when you're applying to any roles, so that the ATS can actually pick up the keywords that you have.
Right. And just go to Google and just type keywords extractor, and you get to see different websites. Yeah. And before applying for the job, you can copy paste the job description there and click the keywords extractor, and it will highlight you, the keywords within that role. And then just make sure like you have those keywords in your profile before submitting the application.
Yeah. I think just to add on to that, incredibly valid point. Like that, you just can't emphasize that enough. Pictures, boxes, just remove them. They're also a recruiter's nightmare as well, trying to remove these from the CV.
I get a lot of the CVs that have so many pictures there, and I'm like scrolling down like, where's the CV?
By the way, just a quick question to you. How important it is to add the company's logo? Does it inspire in any way to trick the recruiter? Or like
no, you cannot. Because we can read, absolutely. So I think if you have to put a logo there, that means the company isn't as good enough. Does that make sense? Like if you read, for example, I'm just going to use my example. If you're going to read DHL, everybody knows what DHL is, right? Do I necessarily have to put a logo there? No, you know what DHL is. So I think it just adds to the page usage, but it's not really worth it. You might as well add more key skills, more projects or things like that than putting your logos there. Besides, it's quite difficult to maintain a CV with logos, because every time you move your text, your logo is going to go up and down. And I do have CVs that have mismatched logos as well, and I'm like, oh wow, this is like a puzzle for me to solve.
And sometimes very poor quality logo.
Yeah.
Depixelated.
Yeah. It's
like you can't actually see.
Yeah. We could talk a lot about CVs. This is a really big topic. I don't want to kind of labor on it, but obviously if there are more questions on it, then we've definitely got a lot more.
Nadia, please.
Thank you. My name is Nadia, and I work for communications and marketing. First, I just have a small story, maybe that would be motivative for all the participants, because what you're talking about, being proactive, right, directly to people, I know that because I have quite long experience, and I know that sometimes, especially when people start their career, they think, okay, you're talking here, but it's not true, it doesn't work. But I can say from my experience here, it really works, because I used to live and to work here before, partly, and I arrived in January, and so I started to search for a job, and it's director roles in communications, and it was difficult, and still I'm in the process of search, but I had one project that I really wanted to join, this job, you really the eyes are sparkling. And of course, it was like a lot of people who wanted to join, and like everything was closed already. So too late in January. I mean, like we all know, like big project approaching in October. And I didn't want any role. I wanted my role, like communication. And of course, there were no roles. And I found like persons who were working for and are working for communication department. And some of them were like really local people with, you know, like very conservative views. And I wrote to them because I have premium profile and I can send emails. I have sort of 15 emails at that time. And I sent them letters like saying about me, how I want to join the team. And this is a big project and my eyes are sparkling. So very good letters with my CV. And what happened? They told me like 4 of them answered. Yeah, people in very high positions, 3 of them local people, because most of them are like local people had in their departments there on Expo. And they told me that like it's really fascinating what you're doing, like writing directly, so they really love it. And one of them, he just forwarded my CV and he gave me the freelance project I'm working on now, like till the end of May, I'm finishing it. So this is how he told me, like, you are so motivated, I want to help you. And he forwarded my CV to one of his, I don't know, like partners or whomever. So it's not for Expo, but still very interesting job. So it really works when you're like... Yeah, thank you. Thank you. When you do it with passion and you really want to get something, just really write the emails in a good way, very polite, and like not like I mean, I'm cool, I want to get a job. Explain and say, the most important thing, say what you can bring to the company or to the project. Not that you are very good and you're, you know, you have this or that. But I have difficult questions. You asked for difficult questions. I used to organize a lot of press conferences, so I have difficult questions. So I'm following the discussion when you have like, I have 17 years of experience. And my last position was in Switzerland in Zug. I was global head of communications for a company. It's like originally it's Russian company, Eurohim, but it's like it has assets in USA, in South America, in North America, in Europe. And the thing is that my challenge was, and my goal was to create the unique culture for all these company, like 30,000 employees. So this was very challenging. And before I used to work for Michelin, BMW, PepsiCo, so and in Russia, France, US. So very international experience, not only in Russia, but what I'm facing now is like I even have the name. The one person gave me the name and didn't hire me. He told me you are best and wild. Best because you're really best and you're really good, but wild because you don't have Middle East experience. And now I'm facing, and we discussed already with someone, because someone is coming here with no experience, but the story is the same. I have no experience and no Middle East experience. I have a lot of experience and international experience, but very low. Like in 2007, I worked for British American Tobacco and I was here for 6 months assignments. So this is my experience here, very little, but still I always get the answer, you know, like during these several months, you don't have like local experience and I want to know what should I mean, like, of course I don't have it and I say it directly. I don't, you know, like trick, like, oh, I have so much of local experience, you know, but I need to gain it and I'm really passionate. I started to learn Arabic even. So my daughter started to learn it at school. So I have a passion, I have a goal, but I need the first step to start, you know, like renew my local experience. But people demand, and of course for high positions, they want it. And I truly understand them. But sometimes what I've learned, you need to take someone with a risk and then this person will give to your company a lot more than, you know, like maybe the stable decision. So what would be your recommendation to those of us who continue their career or who only start the career with no or very little Middle East experience?
So basically those who come here for the very first time without UAE experience and they are potentially looking for jobs.
Okay, so, well, for those who don't have any experience, that is a very tough question that I'll leave for the panel. Okay.
That is how you trick.
But from what you said, I do understand that you have had projects in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Not precisely
And now
UAE, but in the Middle
yeah,
East,
it's like-
right?
yeah.
So I think instead of saying I do not have experience in the Middle East, I would probably rephrase that and say, tricking them by saying, I have a cumulative experience of so-and-so months or years because I have worked on A, B, and C projects. So I think that's a better way to put it. Additionally, if you were putting it up in your CV, I think a lot of us do not write the countries we've worked for. So for example, as recruiters, you're not recruiting necessarily for the UAE, but you're probably recruiting in Europe, you're recruiting in Asia, and so on. So I think that should be a part of the keywords that you use in your resume, that you have done recruitment in UK, you've done recruitment in Asia, you've done recruitment in the Far East, and so on. So then that becomes a part of desirable skills for the recruiter. So in your particular case, I would probably write or name the projects that you've worked on in the UAE or the Middle East for that matter and put it out there. And when you're asked, I wouldn't say I don't have the experience, but I would say I have a cumulative experience of working on so and so project in this location.
But actually, that is, of course, like when I apply for a director of communications position, of course, I mentioned the projects I have here, and I have like Switzerland, US, and France, Clermont-Ferrand. Nobody knows where it is. Only people working for Michelin, you know, in the headquarters of Michelin. So I lived there for 2 years, and it's like living, I don't know, in Malquem. Nothing. It's nothing there, only Michelin. But of course, people like they are not stupid people, and you cannot trick them. Actually, you cannot trick you forever. So they see like all these countries, they see, and it's like they really believe that it's international experience. But still, I truly tell you, they feel lack of Middle East. And I'm thinking like, what is so special? So I went to US, and you know, like in 2 months, I was completely okay with the new culture and my role. In France, the same. What is so typical here that you cannot fit without, you know, being here before?
Okay, so when I came here, I had the same you know, reason that was given to me as to why I didn't fit the role. So I've been in the Middle East all my life. So I was first in Kuwait, and now I'm in the UAE. So I constantly kept getting told that I don't have UAE experience. So I said, but I do have Middle East experience. So how different can that be?
Yeah.
It's only later that I realized that I think it had much to do with the labor laws over here rather than Kuwait, although they're still the same. Okay, they're pretty much the same. Just maybe 1 or 2 laws that are different, but everything else is the same. Now, do you get this often, like every time, or just this one particular project that you want to be a part of?
90%, I would tell. I'm even really interested, because if I worked, for example, all my life in one country, okay, but really, like, they really appreciate my professionalism, but like, it's very frequent feedback, like, we really want you, but you don't have like local experience. This I'm quoting.
All right, because I think I'm of the belief that sometimes people want to turn you down for other reasons and are just using that as the best excuse to get out of it.
Like, it's
I believe
not,
that. But if it is a frequent one, I'm not sure how to answer that anymore.
I can add as all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, obviously this is a very difficult one, and I think there's definitely an element of that which could well be true. For me, I think what needs to happen is you need to be getting more experience, right? And I think you've definitely gone down the right route of getting the experience because you've started doing consultancy work, and that is what you need to do more of. Because all the time you're doing consultancy work, you're building up your profile, you're building up your LinkedIn profile, you're building up your CV, right? So that is what you've got to be doing, and maybe that means that you're not working for money potentially. You know, you're doing extra projects on the weekend, or you're doing volunteer work or temporary work on top of what you're doing. And I know that doesn't sound like an ideal scenario, but, you know, to get a job, like, you know, we do have to go above and beyond. So I think, yeah, on a more broad point, I think that is what I'd be saying. It's about getting experience any way you can. And that might be, you know, doing sort of...
Game changer.
Yeah.
All right. From my side, I believe you might also have to focus on the companies that you are applying for, because you have such a diverse profile and a high-end profile. All right. Now, the problem is if you apply for smaller companies and the medium-sized companies, and even if they give you the role, all right, with a certain salary, so you will not accept that anyway. All right. let's say they might offer you 5,000 or 6,000, but the role is communication director, but the company is smaller.
Once I had an answer from one agency. They told me like, we really want you, but we cannot afford you.
Exactly.
You know, like
Now with such a diverse experience, with such an international, you have such a great profile. So look for the companies from France or Spain, or the German companies, or the American companies, or the British companies who have their offices here, or who have their subsidiary companies here. All right, this is one of the way, like with such a profile, you need to look for bigger companies. Okay, so your skills can be utilized in a variety of different ways. All right, and also they will be in a position to give you the salary, at least to your expectations. Now, another thing here is that if you are looking out for job opportunities, and you see this more often, like the recruiters, they come back with an excuse. I usually see this as an excuse to simply reject the profile, like you don't have the UAE experience. Yes, in some cases, it is required. For example, a person who is looking out for HR opportunity, or let's say a PR role, where you have to extend the visas or the passport work, and so you definitely need to have the UAE experience, right? Because you have very frequent labor or ministries visits, so you need to have the understanding of the UAE labor laws and how all these things works. So what you can also do is to reach out to the recruiters from the high-end companies again. I don't want to mention, but like look for British recruitment companies which are in the UAE, or the local companies here within the UAE as well, and to connect with the recruiters from those recruitment agencies, and build that connection. And as you rightly mentioned, like invite them over a cup of coffee, because recruiters, they have different roles that they are hiring for, which you may not know, and like some of roles may not be advertised. Yes. For example, the roles, maybe you match the role, but maybe the title is different, and you're looking for a different title. But a recruiter, just like a doctor, they can see you and then they can advise you, like you have this problem, this disease. So meeting up with the recruiter, I am always an advocate of doing the networking thing, because it gives you a lot of opportunities. You can expose yourself, and you can better explain to a recruiter who understands your profile, and it's a win for the recruiter as well, because they are giving the best candidate to the best company. All right, and you, as while you were speaking, you were sharing your journey, you are a great candidate to in front of the recruiters. So reaching out to the recruiters again is very, very important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's all incredibly valid. I think the other thing that I would want to know, if someone had actually said that to me, I would say, just out of interest, what is it about the local experience that I need to get on my profile in case the role comes up in the future?
Just like civil engineers. So the companies, construction companies, they might ask the potential civil engineers that you should be having UAE experience. The atmosphere is different, environment is different, temperature is different. The material that they use to build the road is different. So yes, the one side is, yes, UAE experience does help, but the other side is it may not be that important. But we need to see the roles that you're looking for, how important it is, and then again how you can trick it. You want to add something?
No, I just want to say that keep trying. Keep trying. That's what you do. Yeah. Maintain an Excel sheet of the companies that you're applying for, the number of people that you're contacting. Usually the ratio is 100 to 1. You write 100 emails, maybe 10 will respond, out of which 7, 8 will say no, sorry. They'll be kind enough to say sorry. 2 or 3 might ask you to meet, and 1 could interview you. So it's still good. Yeah, keep trying.
And now, because things are opening up, so hopefully in the near future, we just hope that you can just walk in. Before COVID, the applicants, they can simply walk into the HR department of the companies, drop in CVs, walk in interviews were there before COVID. So we hope that things will ease up soon, so that, that was a great way to connect with the recruiters, by the way. Immediately you are in the HR department. Mm-hmm. And there was a funny story here, maybe I can just share, and then we come back to you. Sure. Your question. A friend of mine, he shared this story. And he said, a candidate, he applied for a role, and how he applied was very interesting. So he put his one shoe in a box with a letter, and he wrapped it, a nice gift box, and he sent it to the HR department. I don't know where this story is and how true that is, but this is what he told me. So the box arrived in the HR department of that company, and the recruiter or the hiring manager, sorry?
I'm so glad I was in that recruiter.
Okay. So they opened the box, and there was this one shoe, a nice shoe, polished shoe, nicely packed, and then there was this a letter, and on that letter it was written on the top, "Dear sir, thank you very much. As you see already, I have stepped in, in the HR department of the company. In the company, I have already stepped in, but with your little support and your kind contribution, I think I can have my both feet in this company."
Wow.
So this is a very creative, very creative. And I have seen there is another a chocolate bar. You might have come across that. A very viral post was that. So a candidate, he was working before in the food and beverage industry perhaps, or in the chocolate making industry or company, and so he bought one chocolate, and around that chocolate he created that wrapper, or to cover that chocolate bar. His actually CV was written on that wrapper.
Wow.
Yes, how creative was that?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's just how creative you can be. Please, Ujala.
Mostly the companies, when they send the rejection mails, they didn't tell you about the excuses or the reasons why they reject you. So I asked them, I want the feedback of my interview because I want to improve myself for the next interview if you reject me. So they told me, one of them told me that your interview went really good, we really inspired, but we feel that you have lots of theoretical experience, you don't have a hands-on experience. And I told him that, I told you I am graduated last year, and but still I did multiple internships in my own field. So how can I have a hands-on experience if you are not letting me? So it's been a week, I didn't hear from them. So I hope that they will get someone who have more experience than mine. But I have a question that, according to the UAE market, what do you recommend for a fresh graduate who wants to work in the information project management? Because I am struggling to land the job of my interest. Do you recommend accepting any job, non-related job, or wait for the right one?
I would say wait for the right one, because it's important that you do what you love to do, right? And apply for the jobs that are relevant to you, which ask for 0 to 3 years of work experience or internships. You'll have to build on that till you get your desired job. Yeah, don't apply for jobs where they're asking for 3 to 5 years of experience or 2 to 4, because you don't have that clearly. So apply for junior jobs.
I didn't see. It's been 3 months that I am trying for a. It's been 3 months that I am trying for a job. I didn't see any job which require 0 to 2 years or 3 years of experience. The only few jobs that I got, that they will not paid me. They are non-paid internships. They will give me the opportunity that we will give you 3 certificates at the end of the internship, but this is not paid.
Okay.
So do you recommend if I land in these kind of jobs?
I would say yes, if you're not doing anything else right now and you can do those unpaid internships. I don't really advocate them, because people should pay for internships as well. But if you have time and you can gain skills by doing those internships, then do them. Because at least you're adding more value to your CV, you're learning more things. Consider it like a college where you're not paying fees.
I am doing lots of certifications these days, and that's why they told me that you have lots of theoretical knowledge, but you don't have a practical knowledge.
Right.
So
on-the-job training is the best thing. So if you're getting internships, then do those internships, because on your CV, instead of having no job, it's better to have those internships. And maybe that same company could hire you after 3 months or 6 months. You can ask these questions in the interview itself.
But those internships are not related to my interest. There are sales jobs, business development jobs.
It's a vicious cycle. Once you get into something that's not in your field, you'll just be circling in that same field. Because here in the UAE, I've seen it quite often. they hire you not based on what you can do, but on what your last experience is. So if you get into sales, that's it. Sales is going to be your career for the rest of your life here.
I did an internship in digital marketing because of my IT background.
Okay.
So all of the jobs that came in front of me, all related to digital marketing. I don't have really a good experience in digital marketing because I have a IT background. I somehow did that internship very well.
Yeah.
But I am not passionate about digital marketing. I
Then
want to
don't
land
do
in
it.
the project management job. So these jobs require lots of experience, and I don't have any experience.
I think you need to take on roles that you are passionate about, because that's the only way you're going to give it your full potential. Okay, that's one side of it. The other thing is, to answer your question, I think you should wait for the right opportunity to come by. There are opportunities out there, just wait it out and look in the right places, I would say. Chris, yes.
And if you have internships in your field in project management, then definitely take those up. For your digital marketing internship, if you want, you can even remove that from your CV, because if you have it there, then you will get jobs which are similar to digital marketing. It's an apple-to-apple comparison. We try to match the exact experience with the role that we have. So if you have experience in digital marketing, you will clearly get interviews for those.
I did multiple internships in different IT domains, like operational manager, WordPress developer, and digital marketing in Duncan and Rose last month. I finished that. But the main thing, I want to land a job in project management, and project management requires at least 5 years of experience.
Right. I will share as well, please.
So my question would be, what comes before a project manager?
Project analyst.
Coordinator, associate, assistant.
So those are the roles that you need to be finding.
These roles also required experience.
Okay, so we're kind of going back to the same point, aren't we? So we need to be finding companies that are hiring project managers, because that's ultimately where you want to be, right? So you need to find companies that you can go and do internships at, or offer to work for free, offer to shadow someone, offer to work on the weekends, get involved in projects, anything that you can do to get the relevant experience. Because I agree, don't just go and do a marketing internship because it's there, but go and get the experience that you need to get, and you're going to have to go above and beyond. You know, clearly, like, there aren't that many jobs out there at the moment, so you have to take a step which maybe other people aren't willing to take. And then once you're into that company, you have to prove that you are worth a full-time role, and that is how you're going to get a job, doing what you want to do.
Last week, I recently finished a certification about project management tools, and I shared it with LinkedIn. And I prosperously volunteer. I am open to volunteer if someone needs my help regarding project management roles or internships. I am happy to volunteer. I didn't get any reply from any recruiter.
Last week, yes?
Yeah.
I would be saying on that is, you need to flip this around. You need to go and find something. So you need to identify companies. Go onto LinkedIn. Who employs these project managers? Which companies do you want to work for? You then need to go and find these project managers the person that you want to be, and go and approach them and let them know about your certificates, about what you have been doing, where you want to be, and what you're willing to do to get there. So you need to be proactive with it. That is what I would say here.
According to your conversation, that I contacted with so many recruiters about Robert Walton, Manpower. There's so many companies. I contacted them personally and talked to them, and they told me that we only hire, Robert Walton especially told me that we only hired those people who have experience. And I said okay, and then hang up the call.
Yeah.
Specializes only in experienced hire. So you don't need to target them, don't chase them, accept what they told you and move on to looking for another recruiting search firm that hires people with no experience.
I contacted sir, and I texted him that you are telling always that contact recruiters, And there are so many recruiters who are not even bothered to reply you. So is it not work for me? Didn't work for me.
No problem. All right. So
Sorry. Just to come back to a point that I mentioned earlier. Speaking to HR is not going to be the way forwards for you. You need to speak to the people that are hiring. They are the people that care about their division. Internal HR don't care. To some degree, the pain is with the person who's hiring. So that is the person that can make the decision. So that's the person that you need to be speaking to. That's the person you need to be in the room with. You need to be networking with those people, and you need to be proactive with it.
So, okay, let's look at it this way, okay? So just to answer your question, because you're clearly looking for the answer and you don't seem to be getting it, right? Okay, let's break it down, yeah? How many people have you contacted in the last week?
So many, hundreds
No,
of
give me a
them.
number.
Number? I don't know, remember the number.
There we go. That's where the problem starts, yeah? So if you are looking for a job, it's a job in itself. An answer that you don't know, it clearly tells me that you're not as effective as you should
It's
be.
more than 500, I can say that.
You're sure? Because you just started off.
Yes,
you don't
I have so many.
I'll tell you what you need to start doing in that case, okay? So that you are sure of how many people you contacted. For one, you need to have 2 lists of companies, 2 lists for yourself. One, people that you want to work for, like he said, companies that are hiring project managers, okay? You got to have that list ready. On the other hand, you got to have a list ready of active vacancies out there that are hiring. Okay, so you're going to start off there. What you're then going to do is try and connect with all the people from the respective department, not HR. You could as well, okay, but start off with the project managers of those respective companies that you want to work for. Then get in touch with all the people under them. And LinkedIn is the best tool. So what you're basically going to do is you're going to start mapping each of these organizations that you want to work for. Then take a look at the list of the active vacancies, contact both in this case, HR as well as the respective department. And you're going to maintain a list wherein you're going to write their name, write their email address that you have figured out, write their phone number if you have that, and the date that you have sent your CV. I'm serious. This is the only way you're going to get through.
I have a
Hold
dream
on,
in
I'm not
work in
done. Hold on.
Amazon.
Once you're done with that, you need to write the date when you emailed them. If you have emailed them, and also LinkedIn in-mails, right? So if you have in-mailed them or if you have sent them a message, you need to put that date. After you've done this and you have exhausted your list, what you're then going to do is start doing this every week. You're going to send your CV out to them every week. If it was a LinkedIn message, every week. Just following up on the message before. That's the only way you're going to get through. Just by applying on their website, you're actually just uploading your CV onto their database, which then means if and when they need a person, they will see it. But what's to say that you're not going to update that after a couple of months and you actually have a job in the last 3 months? So that CV is not updated. That's why you need to go back and keep following up. That's when somebody asks you how many applications you sent. You sent 500, correct? So that's what you're actually going to do. Believe me, after 2 weeks, if I ask you, you would have got many calls. Do you agree with that, Stalker?
I absolutely agree.
I made a list. So you can.
I would agree with that, definitely. Like, you know,
You've got to be strategic in how you do this.
I made a list of Amazon employees because I have a dream someday I would definitely work there. I made a list of around 15 to 20 employees of them. About 10 of them didn't even bother to accept my LinkedIn request. Okay. I messaged them on LinkedIn and they saw that, but they didn't reply. Even 2 of them reply, but they said we will look into your profile and then we will get back to you. So it's been 20 days. They didn't bother to reply.
That's fine. We get CVs with subject resume and in the body of the email PFA. Please find attached. I'm not going to open that CV. If you did not spend even 5 minutes in writing to me why I should hire you or why I should look at your CV, why should we respond? So if you're getting responses, if you're getting even rejection responses, that means it's working. You're writing good emails. That's really good. You should be proud of yourself. Yes.
Thank you.
And I hope, are you going to add something? All right. So we're going to look now, you're looking for some junior roles, all right? So let's see, obviously some great insights. You might not be aware of these insights before, and now you might be getting some direction. All right. So
It's been 3 months that I'm following you.
me. All right. So let's see how you can crack an opportunity now. Now the problem, what I see, is that you're looking for some junior roles. Now, because a lot of experienced professionals as well, they have been made redundant just recently or in the past. And people with 5 years of experience, they are also applying for those junior level roles. So, and they're ready to accept the lower salary. Okay. So from the recruiter side, or maybe from the employer side, they might prefer a candidate with higher experience because they know the stuff, they know how things can be done. So they don't need to spend time and train a fresher. So they would just go, okay, so even if the salary is 6,000 and we are having an experienced person who is ready to do the job for 6,000, okay, let's get him on board. All right. So you're missing out on a lot of opportunities in this way, because a lot of experienced professionals, they are also applying for the same roles which you are applying for. All right. Now on the other side, if you are reaching out to the recruiters, not all the recruiters, they are the technology recruiters. All right. So we need to target the niche. We need to narrow it down. So if you're looking for recruiters on LinkedIn, narrow it down to get to filtered recruiters, 50, even 10, or even 5. But those are the recruiters who will understand your profile. Just like a cardiosurgeon cannot do the brain surgery, a brain neurologist cannot handle the bones. That's an orthopedic job. So you need to reach out to the tech recruiters. Obviously, it's a job on your end that you have to perform, and as Valencia rightly mentioned, that I keep a track of everything, list on all those recruiters, and then reaching out to them. Now, next, what also you can do is to reach out not only the recruiters, but the IT professionals as well. That's where the LinkedIn magic is. Because these people, they are working on projects already. They're working on different projects with different clients. All right, now reaching out to them personally. All right, now if you reach out to 100 IT professionals or computer engineers, programmers, they don't need to understand your profile. They already know with your degree, with your qualification, because you speak on the same level. You speak with the same terminologies. Your understanding is the same. All right. So as then Chris mentioned, is like, take up those small projects. It's like the work is there, the jobs are there. It's how you have to figure it out, how you have to explore, how you have to discover those opportunities. All right. If you are just submitting your applications, like 500 applications, no one is hiring, or submitting volume of applications, that may not going to work. Going back to the same point, the first one that I mentioned, because the competition is high, a lot of experienced professionals, they are also applying for the junior level roles. So that is I believe is one of the difficulty here as well. Mm-hmm. And I can also tell you that since you are a fresher, so you need to do your job search in a very easy way. So okay, don't make your job searching more complicated. All right. So what you can do is to go back to your university, because I worked with the university here in the UAE, and I can tell you that your career department cell, they have access to a lot of employers personally. Okay. They have access, contact details, cell phone numbers, email addresses, and they speak with the employers on daily basis, because they have to get the internships for the students. They have to get the management training roles for the students. They have to get the roles for their alumni. Are you not from here? I thought you graduated from here. No problem. You did not graduate from here. All right. Giving you another tip, and then we move on to you, Chris. Hold on to that thought, because I was just... I lost it a long time. So what you can also do on LinkedIn is, I have seen so many people. Did you see my picture with one of the guy from Africa who was a painter? Yeah. Right? He got 2 opportunities already. So another guy, he texted me, he said thank you very much for posting this picture. I have engaged him to paint my studio walls. Wow. And he sent me the picture like he's working in my studio. And I said okay, that's brilliant. It gave me goosebumps. I was like, wow, I became as a person a missing lead for that guy, and he's now painting the inside wall of that studio. And I told him, when he has done his job, let me know. I'll personally come to your studio, I'll take the picture, and I'll let the world know the impact of personal branding, the impact of networking, And then I got contacted with one of the officials from the Dubai government that I met. I was with him last week. He works with the Dubai government, And he reached out to me. He said, like, did you know the charges of this guy? How much he charges for painting or like, his stuff? I said, like, I'm sorry, I don't know, but these are his contact details. He said, like, okay, I'll contact. So that's how you explore opportunities within the networking. Now, coming back to you as a computer graduate, as a computer engineer, I have seen on LinkedIn a lot of people. Just take the example of logo designers. They are creating small work and they're putting it out in the market. If you're applying for job applications, you may be a diamond. You have a great profile, a great spark, a great passion, but nobody knows you, not even the recruiters. You're just like in that pile of 1,000 applications, you are just standing 769 point in that space. So LinkedIn gives you the opportunity that you can brand yourself. So you can create those small applications. I met one job seeker back in 2017 when I was working in Abu Dhabi, and he had the same question. It's like, you know what, I'm not getting any jobs, and I told him, like, I envy you. I wish I was a computer engineer, because the ideas I have got, I wish I can revolutionize the world. Honestly speaking, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, these are my idols, really, because you can change the world. You can design something, you can create solutions. So if you come up with a creative idea, all right, you can, obviously you are a computer engineer, you can program something to help the job seekers, for example. How they can track their job applications. So you can create a mobile app for them and just put it out there on LinkedIn. Hey, I have just created this mobile app free to download on Google, but the people within your network, they get to know your potential then. So you need to put your potential out in some way to the IT people that you're reaching out to one-on-one, or as Chris mentioned, I hope you're still holding on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. So creating that buzz, creating that noise, let people know. Why do I share a lot of things on LinkedIn? Just to tell people, like, these are my skills actually. From basics to my expert skills, I just share every single day. You can use your LinkedIn backdrop, LinkedIn cover story. You can create different products, even small products, whichever company I've worked so far, because I love computer programming, and I learned VBA, which is very at a very foundations of programming, they call it. And I use MS Access database, and I really can revolutionize within MS Access database. And if you go onto my experience, which I had in Abu Dhabi, I created for them a complete management suite, which had inventory control, credit invoicing, HRIS, it had petty cash management, it had material inventory management, everything that I loved. I made everything automated from reports.
Send me your CV?
Oh yeah, you see that? That's how you trick.
I will hire him for sure.
So it's just how you create that, your brand out in the market now. You need to be there.
A lot of people don't know what they want. So you want to work for Amazon. I'm sure you will work for Amazon one day. You'll get that. Yes. In fact, I have a similar story. In 2003, I graduated, and I was in Mumbai at that time, and BPOs or call centers had just started coming up or booming. That industry was booming in India. I went for an interview at IBM amongst a lot of other companies. After the interview, I was rejected, and the feedback that I got was my communication skills were poor. This was in 2003, April. Okay, I gave interviews for at least 8 to 10 companies, got rejected at several places. Then I got a job in a very small call center, which was owned by a domestic company in India. Its name was Immercius. It's shut now. And my salary was almost half of what the other good companies were paying. But I took up that job. In 2005, I joined IBM as a communications trainer. Can you believe that? I was rejected because of communications, and I joined them as a communications trainer. I had a very successful career with them, and I worked for 5 years. So you know what you want, and I was like that. I wanted to work for IBM at that time. So it took a while, but I got there. Yes.
And at this stage, I believe people who you have already worked with, they are your referrals.
Yeah.
All right? So you can take advantage of them in a way that if they can refer you, because let's say not many people, they know you here within the UAE region or within the market here. And people, your friends, maybe your friend circle, your relatives who are here, if they can vouch for you, or they can help you get connected with people in the industry or within the companies here. So that could be your another starting point, getting in the market.
Even the other job seekers can help you, by the way. So you should even talk amongst each other. You should talk to other job seekers on LinkedIn as well, because it's possible that you are targeting one job and the other job seeker is targeting something similar. He may get rejected and he might pass on that lead to you. So don't consider them as your competitors. Everyone is your friend. Just help as many people as you can. Help whoever you meet and you will get good results.
Give you a quick tip. Sheikh Hamdan, all right, they initiated a new project which is called Dubai Next. Yeah. Okay, DubaiNext.ae, I believe that's the website, Dubai Next. Just search it. On that website, the freelancers or people who have a passion, they can create a business, or you have an idea, or let's say you have created a mobile app and you're looking for investors or people to fund your project or your application. So you can go live with your project on that website and wait for people to invest in your project as well. So just take every opportunity within the UAE if it's available for you. Holding that thought or already lost?
I think we've covered a fair amount there.
Yeah,
I think it's
right.
probably time to move on to someone else. I'm mindful that we haven't got long left. So
all right.
Who's up next?
Good evening. My name is Sheikh Muhyiddin. I'm 14 years of experience in oil and gas and petrochemical. My problem is what I'm facing, I'm new to here in UAE. The problem is I have 4 companies. I have worked with 4 companies out of 14 years. First company is power plant, and second is oil and gas, and third is petrochemical, and then fourth is the equipment manufacturer. So I feel it was the good career growth. But when after I have attended some interviews here in UAE, the people are saying you are not expert. Then I agreed, yes, I'm not expert in particular one field, but I just replied I'm a generalist. I'm not a mechanical specialist, I'm a mechanical generalist, so I can fit for the role. But after I read for the job description, I feel it's mine. But when it comes to the interview, and the people are, the HR people, the hiring manager, what they are looking is, okay, our profile is good, everything is good. But we are looking for this particular role for 5 years or 10 years you might have worked. But my experience is 3 years or 4 years in each job. So how I can handle this situation?
Sorry, so the question is that you've got 14 years experience. Are you going for these jobs?
That's 14 years experience. The 4 jobs, I worked with 4 jobs out of 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 companies I worked. The 4 companies are different in nature, but in mechanical industry only. It relates to mechanical, but first is power plant, and second is oil and gas, and third is petrochemical, and then fourth is the equipment manufacturer who are supplying equipments for these plants.
So these are the four industries you worked in.
4 industry, but
it's definitely outside of my circle of competence.
The question is, when I'm landing to the interview, I got some interviews here in UAE. The people are saying, okay, first is I don't have a UAE experience, but I have Middle East experience. I worked with Saudi as well as in Bahrain. Okay. They are saying, okay, you are not particular. For example, if I'm applying for a equipment engineer role, I do have experience, but I don't have experience what they require. They are asking for 5 years experience, 10 years experience, but the job description what they have mentioned is I'm completely okay with that.
I get it. All right.
So how I can handle this situation?
Okay, I think.
But some people are saying, so you are overqualified for that.
Right. You know, the thing is, from my side, I think if you are applying for petrochemical positions or like within that industry, and you have already worked in, okay, you know the work, but that work you have done maybe 10 years ago. Things might have changed now. All right. If you are in the UAE, as I believe you mentioned, is like your recent experience is very, very important. Your recent experience. So if you look out for roles which is in like a close correlation with your recent experience, I believe that should be your starting point, and that might give you a good success rather than going back to your first experience, which was in what was that, by the way? The very first one, for example.
Power plant.
Power plant. And then we also need to see, do we see a lot of power plants here in the UAE?
Yes.
Yes or no is one of the things. And then if yes, if you are applying for those roles, so how much experience do you have, as in the recent times, for those power plants? All right?
Recent times, no.
Recent times, no. So that's where your the evaluation on your profile is a question mark, or let's say it becomes a question mark from the recruiter side, because they are really intrigued to know what you have done in the recent years. So if you apply for roles which you have done just recently, or your skill sets which you have just utilized. By the way, I just submitted, I also apply for jobs. I mean, it's not that I'm not looking for jobs, but just recently I applied for, in a big company, in a very, very big company. And I was surprised. This is a real example, just yesterday. And they said like, okay, add your skill sets. And I wrote, okay, social media. How many years of experience you have in social media marketing? I said 5 years of experience, 3 years. I just put the number of experience that I had for that skill set. The next column was, when was the last time you used 1 month or less, 2 months or more, 6 months or less? And I was like, okay, so this is the new way which is helping the recruiters as well, is like, the experience that you recently had. So if you look for roles, for example, from your recent experience, I believe you could have a good success rather than spending a lot of time and wasting your energies. And then, again, if you see a rejection email, it's, turn off your mood, and you feel like worthless, feel like there is no value for you, but you are competent. You got great skill sets, but we just need to put ourselves in some direction. And that is why when you meet people, when you meet experts, people within your network, your friends, your relatives who have gotten jobs here, speaking to them will give you some more ideas. Now, from tomorrow onwards, my personal opinion, I don't think so that you should look for roles in power plant or in other industries that you have worked 10 years ago. All right, maybe you might have worked in Europe, let's say. The environment would have been different in power plant there, and work procedures would have been different, protocols could have been different. But here on rigs, market is different here, atmosphere is different, as we have already discussed, like as a civil engineer maybe.
So, okay, I've never recruited for a power plant or petroleum or oil and gas for that matter, so I'm not sure of these titles or what their job description is or sounds like. But what I would suggest is, if you've worked in the power plant, I don't like taking risks. So what I would probably do is still take a list of all power plants that are available in the UAE and try and contact the HR people as well as the respective department again in this case. And then probably if the companies you have worked for are available in the UAE, I would approach them first. So I think what happens is sometimes if you see experience from your respective company, you kind of climb the ranks in your shortlist, right? So I would suggest getting in touch with those companies and seeing if your particular profile does exist in the UAE as well. Fine. So I think what I would do is start off by contacting the companies you've already worked for that are available in the UAE, and then send your CV across to the HR people, and then look for similar companies, the competitors of these companies you have worked for that are here, and then contact them. So I think your list would probably be the list of competitors and the companies you've already worked for. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Can I just add on to that finally? I think so for me, different size companies have different types of roles, and quite often the size of the company will determine what they look like. So when you're on LinkedIn, and I'm assuming that you can do this as a candidate, but you can then search on companies that have a certain number of employees as well. And that should then find you companies that are going to be similar to the size or type of companies that you've worked for in the past. And then that will then feed into, okay, have these people got the same sort of skill sets, similar roles to what I've done in the past? And if so, then absolutely, those are the ones that you need to go after, because those are the ones that are going to be most interested in your profile. And you can then sell your skill set, which isn't making it up. You're just being, factual with what you're doing.
And then I think something that just got into my head is a combination of what they both said. So you could also connect with people who are similar to your profile. Okay, so connect with people who are similar to your profile here in the UAE and see which companies they work for. And then get in touch with them and tell them, put it out there that you're looking for a job. I think that's another way to look at it. Because, right? So you combine that. So get in touch with job seekers like yourself, or people also who are in jobs and where they are working. And then probably meet up with them or something and see how they got through, what's the best way to apply.
Exactly.
I think that's one way you could look at it.
Yes. Another quick suggestion to all of you, by the way, to brand yourself. We hear a lot, the job seeker, they need to brand themselves. They need to appear. You need to create that noise and create that buzz. And I just recently realized, so why do you go to Instagram? To see maybe pictures, to see maybe, beauty industry is leading on Instagram, nutrition industry is gym industry, how do you call it, like health and fitness. And if you go on YouTube, you listen to music, you watch movies, you watch pranks, you watch different kind of videos. You go on Twitter, and you have a pre-mindset like Twitter is just for the news and small quick news. All right. So what I figured out is that I got active on Twitter, and with these big companies, I don't want to mention the name, but including LinkedIn. All right. So if you go ahead and comment on LinkedIn's Twitter's post, they actually come back and reply. They actually come back and like your tweet. Because not many people, they are on Twitter for the sake of searching jobs and for the sake of expanding their network. But LinkedIn is there as well. Similarly, when you go on Instagram, the big companies, even Amazon, all right, they are creating content there. But nobody is getting engaged on those platforms and in those posts. So this is an opportunity for you to use other social media platforms as well to get the spotlight in the comments or in the likes or in the feeds as well. Rather than just sticking to LinkedIn itself, you can go like Amazon Twitter account, all right? No one, I believe, would bother to go to Twitter and follow those big companies, all right? Because you think it's a waste of time, or it's not really required. If you have to follow big company, you will come back to LinkedIn. But if you go there and you leave a comment or you leave some insightful discussion, or you share your thoughts there, share your ideas there, there is a chance that you might get clicked. And honestly speaking, there are so many opportunities that I have personally got, from LinkedIn, because the fact that I have a large network, but leaving a comment, getting engaged in companies' posts will help you get the spotlight, will help you brand yourself. Yes. Next question.
Hi everyone, good evening. Myself Jitendra Patil, and I have total 14 years of experience. And actually I just wanted to have addition on this last question. For the project management specifically, I am working as a project manager now in oil and gas field. No, I'm just adding because that as a Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical graduate, I was also having a dream of working as a project manager. But before going for that position, I started as a manufacturing engineer to start learning and start getting myself educated from the grassroots level. After working of 2 years as a fabrication engineer, production engineer, then I just took the job in my dream company as a planning engineer. Actually, my dream role was of projects, but I took a role only as a planning engineer. I worked as a planning engineer for 2 years, but in that meantime, I assisted as a project manager for 6 months to help him out. What he is actually is overloaded and what he needs help from my side. I was just helping him. And after 6 months, he himself suggested to HR that please transfer this guy to a project engineer as just a fresher, so that he can start as a project engineer job. And then, so that's how we have to find which are the roles. In a long term we want to work, but we can start from the early stage. My questions actually, there are 2 questions. First of all, I'm applying every job on LinkedIn which are suitable for my profile. And on LinkedIn, there is a special tool which shows that in which top 10% or top 20% you are there. Many times the profile shows in top 10, top 20, resume gets downloaded, but there is no contact. Maybe the recruiter is busy. And other times, the CV doesn't get shortlisted, though the keywords are there. So first question is that how the ATS works, how to prepare a ATS friendly CV, means what to put it and what not to put it. Like you said, the boxes should not be there, color should not be there, but exactly what ATS looks for, only the keywords. Suppose if I have project management professionals, I have completed my PMP certification. I have mentioned as a project management professional as well, I have mentioned as a PMP as well. These 2 times I have mentioned, but I cannot mention it 4 or 5 times in just one CV, like that. So what need to be put in the CV and what not to be put in? Means what is like, we should not put it exactly. The second question for you, for LinkedIn, how to get started?
To Chris or me?
For you. How to get started?
You were looking there.
No, sorry, I'm looking after you. how to get started on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Means how to put content, what
Sure.
you should put for the project management,
Sure.
means specifically for your role, and then means how to start interacting.
All right. To your first question, just a little insight from my side. The time when you're applying for a job, you might see yourself to be in the top 10%. But when you come back after 2 hours, you might see you're in the top 50. Yeah. Okay? And the job will close after 3 weeks. And you might be in the, there are more potential and competent applicants who will come up on top of your profile. So you might see now that you are in the top 5, but tomorrow you see yourself in the top 50. All right? So that does not determine that you are going to get a call. All right? Please.
So when you're saying you're in the top 10 applicants over there, so do you know how that works? Okay, so when you're posting, specifically with LinkedIn, right? There are a lot of job boards out there, but specifically with LinkedIn, this is how it works. So when a recruiter is actually posting this vacancy on the back end, there are certain skills that the recruiter puts in that help the recruiter match applicants out there on LinkedIn. Okay, let's take, for example, you're a project manager, so PMP certification could be one of the things that they would put in there. Yeah. Then projects, or let's say, what project manager are you actually? What field is this? Is it
oil and
engineering?
Gas.
Oil and gas. Okay, again, a field I don't understand. But let's take, for example, you were a project manager for IT. So let's say you've done HRIS projects and you've done SAP, and then there is some implementation you've done for Oracle and things like that. These are all the keywords a recruiter would put at the back end. Mm-hmm. What then happens is when you as an applicant apply, your LinkedIn profile should have these skill sets in your profile. So when you apply, it then tells you that you're in the top 10 because it has matched the skill sets that you have put to the ones that are already there. Okay, so a trick to getting through this process is to ensure when you're applying, what are the skills that this job requires. So when you go to click on apply, on the right hand side you see the skills that are required. So use those skills into your profile before you apply. So then when you apply, you will come to the top of the thing. Now to your question about ATS, it's pretty simple. Have a good CV that has everything that you have done. Like she gave an example, if you're a recruiter, you could have also been a talent acquisition specialist. So have both those words in there, and whatever other words that are related to your profile. Ensure you have them in there and then upload that. Complete the application on the ATS. So don't leave any details unanswered. Okay. Now another thing that the ATS does, which people outside of recruitment may or may not know, is we have something called screening questions. Okay, so they could ask questions such as what age group you fall in, or they could ask you, have you worked in the past in the UAE? Have you managed so-and-so projects? Yeah. Now, when you answer yes or no accordingly, the system itself will automatically screen you out, which then means that your CV was never downloaded because you were screened out by the system. Okay. So the recruiter has actually looked at CVs that passed that screening process. Does that help you understand that better? Yeah. So whatever you're doing so far is absolutely fine. Just keep going. I think you'll learn something soon.
Right. And whenever people ask this question, I always tell them to reverse engineer, the whole entire process, which is to think like a recruiter and how the recruiter might have been shortlisting the profiles or looking for the candidates. So looking from their end, you can potentially build up a great profile, and LinkedIn gives you the opportunity that you can upload multiple resumes. If you click on the jobs tab and then in your job application settings, so you can upload 7 different types, 10 different types, 5 different types of your resumes, and when you're applying for that particular job where you think that CV should be chosen, use that. So again, because that's an engineering field, maybe I'm not that competent in that with those keywords, but take an example of marketing director role, like a CV which is highlighting more on the social media, influencer marketing, Google AdWords site, all these things in a CV, and then put it there as one CV format or one CV layout, or one profile is there already which is attached, and then another which is more geared towards communication, more towards PR within the marketing domain, all right, and so on and so forth, all right, and then another, for example, highlighting the sales aspect, your personality or your network perhaps, and then add there, and then use appropriately. So it's just one-time investment, creating multiple diverse portfolios, and then use it accordingly when you apply for the jobs. Perhaps the last question for today, and then we are running short of time. And then you.
Basically, my name is Rajesh, and my question is how to find the jobs which are never advertised.
Right. So first we need to find out from the recruiters why and where they advertise those jobs which don't come across on the social media platforms, right?
Get in touch with the companies you want to work for, check their particular website, or get in touch with the recruiter and just keep emailing your CV. It's an unsolicited application. You may or may not have it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is all about networking, and I know I've said this a lot tonight, and I don't mean to keep saying the same thing, but the only way that you're going to find out about these positions is if you're speaking to people. So you need to be at the right events. You need to be at networking events in areas which are particularly relevant to you and your skill sets. And once you start talking to people, it's amazing how much information they will give you, and things which us as recruiters don't know, or quite often positions aren't advertised because they are sort of highly sensitive, and maybe your skill set is particularly relevant to that person or that organization.
Yes. Imagine a recruiter, for example, and they just got a client, and the client has just shared with them a position, and the recruiter immediately, she or he has thought, oh, I know somebody, or from within that applicant pool, they already can source the profiles and they will share it with the client. All right, so that position may be filled within few days, and it will never get advertised. And to re-emphasize, like the networking thing is just like you're digging, and until you reach the water, digging the well. So on the networking aspect, I believe people in Dubai are so well connected. It's one of my, one of the famous thought that I shared on LinkedIn as well, that if you're connected with people in Dubai, you are actually connected to the opportunities. All right, so as Chris said, like when you start speaking with the people, you get to know a lot of things, not only jobs, but like different ways. They might help you connect further with the opportunities within their network. It's like a chain, a never-ending chain. And I think within Dubai, it's a great opportunity for you to not only to expand your network, but expanding your network to know of the opportunities within that network and beyond.
Hi, good evening. My name is Wakash, and I'm in the HR for the last 9 years. I have one question regarding salaries, Like, for example, if any XYZ, he's working in one company for the last 5 years, and he's getting like 8 to 10,000. And then suddenly his company shut down. And then again, he became a job seeker. Okay, now he landed in the interview, and he got the offer like between 4 to 5,000, which is 50% of his last company. Okay, now again, he's looking for a better opportunity. So when he go to the new employer, he's asking what's your current salary? So again, the current salary is 5,000, suppose. So they will ask the salary expectation. So again, he will say like my last company was they're paying me like 10,000. I'm expecting like 12,000 to 15,000. But again, the new employer will see the status of the last withdrawal salary. They will not prefer the last company salary. So how you tackle this situation? How you tackle this question?
Actually, this really depends from companies to companies. In US, it's actually illegal now to ask for last salary. So a lot of employers, even in UAE, have discontinued asking that question because we want to cater to different employees, right? So we try and avoid that question. And also, we don't try to offer exactly what you're earning now. That doesn't make any sense. So as a job seeker, I think you should be transparent with the company and tell them that even though if you want to tell your current salary, you can always choose not to declare that as well.
No,
you can
but
say
they will ask during the interview, or even though during the telephonic interview, may I know your current salary? This is a very common question nowadays.
it is a very common question. Most recruiters will ask it, but if you want, you can choose not to answer that and say that I don't want to disclose my current salary. However, my expected salary is 12,000, for example.
And also you can speak with your current employer and just speak with them and to see, and since you're working in the HR, so you just to save yourself, all right, not to get policed. So what you can do is to create a document, just speak with your hiring manager or the top manager within the department. It's very tricky. See that, a good solution here. So you can speak with your head of the department, you say like, why don't we create a document, NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that our people who are leaving, they should not disclose the salaries to other employers when they leave from our company, that they should not disclose, all right? And then you get that signed, and you also sign. So once you're looking for job opportunities, so you have something, which is the truth. So you can tell them, like, I have signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with my previous company, that I should not disclose the salary, current salary.
I think this is a very good question. I think it is a difficult one, because once you accept that salary, you kind of put your stake in the ground, right? So you can certainly, I'm of the viewpoint of, if someone's not going to be transparent with me, it's going to be very difficult to work with them. As a recruiter, I want transparency. I want candidate transparency. I want client transparency, because it's ultimately, it's professionalism. So I would probably, in this situation, be getting an experience letter from the previous company. I would be letting the company know, okay, here is my current salary, but here's what I was on before, and I would have proof of that earning, so I could show that to them. And then I would make sure that I get recommendations from the previous company explaining why I was worth that money. And that will be the most powerful thing that you can take to that employer to make sure that you get that salary back and above where you want it.
Let's take the last question for today.
Hello everyone, this is Fahad with you. For last couple of years I've been working with the government of UAE, and currently has been started my my job search again, and I came to know about some fake jobs as well. So my question here is that how do we distinguish between the original jobs and the fake jobs? Because I saw some jobs on naukrigulf.com as well which were fake, totally fake. I got some calls and they said you have to pay for 300 dirhams for registration, something like that. So I would not mention the name of the countries and the people who belong to which country, but my question is, like, how do we distinguish between the fake job and the original job before applying it? Because that we have to apply for that, as madam said at the start, that we have to, this is a job for us, right? This is a complementary job for us, and we have to spend some time on that. So if I spend around 20 minutes or 30 minutes on a job, at the end of the day I get to know that this was a fake job. So how do we distinguish between that, so that we will only apply for those jobs which we believe that it is original and we will get through?
Okay, so it's a research that you would have to carry out actually. Are these fake jobs from renowned organizations, or they are fake jobs from fake names? Like, did you get my question?
Yeah, I got your question. Actually, I got it from some renowned companies as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then that should solve itself, because what you can do is you could either call the company directly and find out if this is a job that is vacant, that you saw it on so-and-so website, or you could go to the company website and see if it is advertised, or you can go to their LinkedIn page and see if it's advertised on LinkedIn, or just do a Google search and see where all this job is posted. If this job is posted in too many websites, there's a chance that it could be fake, because there's something called job crawling that happens. Something like what she was talking about when Indeed does that. So a job crawl is Indeed, and there are many other sites like Naukri Gulf as well. They pull the vacancies from several sites onto their website. But chances are that the original website actually took down that vacancy even years ago, but it still reflects on these sites. Okay, so it may seem fake, but there may have been a vacancy at some point. The best thing for you to do is either go on the company website, check if it's there, call the company directly if that's possible, or just go onto the LinkedIn page and check for the jobs. That's the best way to do it. Anything else?
Sorry, just to add on to that, I mean, anyone that's trying to charge you as a candidate is illegal in this country. So don't even speak to them, or report them to I think it's the HR and Emiratization or authority on that.
From today, my experience was, I just got one post in the LinkedIn, and I just scrolled it down and got one number over there. It was mentioned there was WhatsApp on this one, and it was the profile was basically the high profile. That was some lady was there, and she was a recruiter. I don't know whether she was a recruiter or it was a fake profile as well. So I just texted her on WhatsApp that I'm just looking for this position, and you mentioned that position. they sent me one message, around 15 or multiple lines were there, and they asked to charge me. I mean, they were charging around 300 dirham for the registration. So I just blocked them.
That offers out their mobile number. That's probably not a good start.
Good evening. I'm Shabana. I'm 28 years experience, and I'm applying here. I'm getting the interviews also. They are calling me again second time also, but after that there is no response. So what is the reason?
I mean that's a fairly big question. Obviously, every situation is different, right? Every company has a unique set of needs. Every department has a unique set of requirements. Every hiring manager. So, for me, again, it's about understanding what is it the company wants, and if you're selling yourself or whatever it is you're selling, you need to know who you're selling to. If I'm a pen salesman and I've got a red and a blue pen, and I keep trying to force the blue pen upon you, and then I find out that you're actually a teacher and you love writing big red crosses on paper all day, I've been trying to sell you the wrong thing. So through the recruitment process, you need to be trying to understand what is it they're looking for, what are the major challenges they have, what are their pain points, and then matching what you've done in the past to be able to overcome those and let them know how you can help their department and their company.
So I hope you enjoyed today's The Jobs Talk Show, which was brought to you by, actually supported by I Want to Work, one of the leading job portal in the UAE. And in case you haven't created your profile on I Want to Work, make sure that you create your profile on I Want to Work and download the mobile app as well. As a while ago, we were just discussing on everyday basis, there are more than 100 jobs that are posted on this job portal, I Want to Work. So just make sure and feel free to share it across in your network as well. And I hope you also enjoyed today's kind of networking thing, sort of this thing which we have just created, like a series of Jobs Talk Show, bringing the HR experts from the industry, giving you the exclusive opportunity to connect with the recruiters, which otherwise, you find it very hard. Now we got like the response when I posted on LinkedIn, the response was enormous. It was like mail. We want to attend, and it was so hard for us to actually, reach out to each and every single of them. So we eventually decided, okay, it's going to be first come, first serve. So thank you very much for taking the opportunity to register, and you are the lucky ones here, and you have access to these recruiters. Feel free to get connected with them on LinkedIn as well, because they know you in person now as well. So in case Mina's like what kind of roles that she hires, you can reach out to Chris as well with Mark Williams Recruitment, what kind of roles that they advertise, their speciality, and you can get connected with Valencia as well, what kind of role that she is currently hiring, or in the future which domains or which divisions they are expanding, for example. That's the way to move forward and look forward to. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you very much for your participation. This video will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of I Want to Work, so make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel as well, and we'll see you guys in the third episode of I Want to Work. Thank you very much.
Finding a job with the I Want to Work app is easy. Just search the live vacancies on our interactive map to find a job that matches your skills and experience. Sign up and complete your profile. Upload information about your education and career history before posting your very own video CV. Hit apply and let I Want to Work do the rest. It couldn't be simpler.
You don't need to pay, get a job.